But first question, what are the top 3 mechanics we want to implement, and what mechanic do we want to start with?
Yeah, great question. So our very first mechanic that we want to get going is the time swap mechanic. I think that is the core of the fun that we found here, and we just want to prove that out. And so the first step here is to get our existing bounty board. So if we go into Godot here, play our Rift Runner game. So this is what I'm talking about when I say the bounty board. Whenever we click on one of these levels, it'll take us to a procedurally generated area. So we don't want that. We want to click on a bounty and go to an era, our new era system. We're going to want to go to era 1. So we need to actually program that.
So I have a quick question. Why do you believe the menus are the place to start prototyping the game? Why wouldn't we just load a scene at game start and start prototyping mechanics?
Oh yeah, I think that is very valid too. We only have the bounty board in here because it was already done. And so we can totally skip that if we want as well and just load into the scene.
Yeah, and since it's there, it's fine. I just want to make sure the audience understands, like, I mean, you can start with menus and things, but you want to be as close to finding the fun as possible. And so finding the fun is not menus. Unless your game's like an auto clicker and it's all about progression, and like if your game is an action game, though, a platform or something you're playing, the fun is not the menus. You can always add menus on top. And so the common way and the quickest way to get in to see if your game's actually fun to play is just start creating scenes that you can play. Either way is fine. It's just I don't know how long it'll take to sub out the menus. I also we talked about this earlier, Brandon, but I just want to reiterate it for the audience. We already have procedurally generated things, so we're in the prototyping phase now, not the polish phase. So don't be overly concerned with killing what you have there or deleting what you have there. Like, just leave it and create something else. Because you may actually go back and want to do procedurally generated stuff. Making games is very creative, and you might change your mind every other day on like what's fun. And so you don't want to just be smashing what you have. That's a very, very bad idea for games. Because if you go smash what you have, even if you have Git, even if it's source controlled, in a week you may be like, oh, I want to extend that thing I was trying. And then suddenly you have to go redo all the work. So it doesn't hurt to have files there. It doesn't hurt to leave them there. I mean, I guess if you got extreme OCD and you can't have files hanging around, you gotta do what you gotta do. But usually, we may have 20 scenes, and this is why even the menus along with like the bounty board and doing all that, that's not even the menu I would want right now. I would want menus to switch between scenes so I can easily test different mechanics or different variations of the mechanics.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too, because you don't want to have to replay the entire level to go test out one specific mechanic. If it only exists in that part, you would just have a different way to get there and test it out.
And yes, and the way you prototype is vastly different than the way you make a finished game, right? Like the goal here, and I just want to reiterate this for like the 20th time, the goal is to find the fun. Until we found the fun, you're not polishing, you're not creating the entire game. It's oftentimes why if you go on Reddit or somewhere, you'll see someone who just has a level with stock assets, and they're just running through doing different mechanics. The cat game, they had an entire level basically where you were going through with the cat and you weren't actually doing anything. You were just doing the mechanics of the game, and it's all just checkerboard stuff. There's games that are parkour where you're going through an entire level, but all it is like the stock humanoid running through the level and bouncing off things. So the real point there is, though, like they do that before they're trying to plan out their entire game. I think getting ahead of planning out your entire game is just a fool's errand, even if and with AI assisted tools. And I actually think AI assisted tools make this worse if you're not familiar with it, just because you're in here trying to use, so Arcflow is a framework I use for like web stuff, generate PRDs and then designs and all of these things. And that's great if you know what you're doing but for games, you're not just trying to create a UI for games. You're trying to find fun, which is not something the AI will do for you.
Yeah. So is it okay if I ask it to look at some decisions that we've already made in this directory here?
Yeah, but I would not use Arcflow for this at all. It's a very slow process. And so for games and streams, we want it to be a much faster, streamlined process. Arcflow, though, is like really good if you know where you're going and you know what you want to do and you just want to automate it. But it is not good for iterative, creative workflows. It was not designed to be a creative workflow. It was designed to be everything you're doing already, do it all.
So I'm just gonna put it in the plan mode right now. It will look at just kind of the decisions that we've made already with our game design doc that is in that directory. And then, but with the direction of, hey, we do want to go in and adjust the bounty board to have a specific bounty just to test the time swap mechanic. So I just want to get that running so we can just go through it and look through it.
Okay, so we're going to do time swap, and then what are we doing after time swap?
Then after time swap, we're going to do... So it's either between the time swap transition, which seems more polished to me, so we can skip that. And it'll be more about the different tells that we have in there. I think the tells are a good mechanic that we can look at. So it is, what do we want to put into the game that symbolizes that we should time swap? And how do we want to train the player that they can time swap here without a very obvious sign?
Pushing back on that, is the tutorial really the fun? Like, why are we jumping straight to tutorials? So in my opinion, what I would do is the time swap's important, but I would do a puzzle, right? I would do a time swap and a puzzle. Like, we're prototyping, so you don't need tutorials. You don't need, I don't really think the tell is whether the game is fun or not. That's more of how you tell the player to do it. It's more of like, why do that's always how I'm thinking. Like, so at its core, what do they collectively do to produce something, right? Like, they time swap, puzzle, you move on, right? Like, that's your first prototype. Because if you can't find a single puzzle that's fun in that loop, we need to go back to the design phase.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I was going to put a puzzle into the beginning, but it's good to call that out specifically. So yeah, time swap mechanic we can break down into era 1, era 2, a key to then switch between eras. We can see it changing, and then we'll add that blocker in era 1 and the path free in era 2, and then we can get more complex after that.
Right. And the other thing you might do is you might do 25 different scenes with different puzzle types, right? Before you ever do the indicator, before you ever try to smash them together. Because, and I think this is just where find the fun is. Usually in a game studio, you have a game designer doing all this and the engineer just goes and executes it. That's why I think you're seeing Brandon want to just execute the plan. Is designing is a very different skill set than implementing, and designing is all about what are the tight loops, how do we do this, let's play them, let's find them out. And this is actually where AI in my mind, and this is how we're positioning our company in the long term, is, or in the medium term I should say, is extremely good. Is once we build our design studio, we're going to be able to prototype all these different tight mechanic loops, and now we'll build it to where the AI can help funnel a lot of this. Brandon's doing this all on his own, so it's very open-ended. But we'll be able to just go in and say, okay, we're going to prototype these 25 mechanics, and then you're going to be able to find the one you think is the most fun. So you won't even have to decide what your pillars are until you've prototyped 25 different games, right? Or 25 different mechanics. And so we're going to kind of change this to where instead of thinking about is this fun, you're playing it and is it fun? And that's where I believe this is really, really powerful for indies, even for big studios, because a big studio can take all their game designers come in, each one of them can prototype 25 variations. They can go have a game jam over a week. They all play them at their top 3 at the end, and then they vote on all the mechanics or pull the ones they want, and then they can generate one with all the combination of the ones they want. And the important thing is when you're prototyping, you are not creating finalized software. Most prototypes get thrown away in some capacity. This is also going to be a big difference for you, Brandon, because this is not how most of your career's been at Amazon, where you build something and throw it away immediately, but that is how prototyping games is, right? You, in the prototype phase, it is a very different ball game than when you're on the production pipeline creating finalized things. Like at Amazon, we would never spend a month prototyping and throw all the code away. Like our managers would lose their mind if we did that. But that is very normal in the early stages of game dev. That is also why game teams are very small at first, right? Because they're very hyper focused. Even, like the Riot MMO was like 5 or 6 people for how many years until they started scaling it out. Well, those 5 or 6 people were not making UIs. They were not making visual tells. What they were doing was core game loops where they could go play with 1 or 2 characters or 1 or 2 kits and just see, is it fun? And my guess is they threw many, many, many builds away. So.
Oh yeah, I think that's a really good call. I don't think the managers would only lose their minds, they'd probably also lose their jobs. If we spent a bunch of time doing ideation and then threw it all away. But I think that is one of the biggest benefits with what we're doing here. It doesn't matter your background that you're coming from, what you're good at, what you're not. You can utilize AI to go in and do a good design and then ideate and then throw away what's not fun and then improve on what is fun. So I've created a few more next steps here. So I wanted to also make sure that we're intentional about our dash and dash slide mechanic here, and then have a puzzle around that. We could do the same thing with like a wall jump if we wanted to, but I think that these two are unique enough. And then I think that we should string some puzzles together and some platforms together to create something that we can flow through with our movement mechanics. And then after we do that, I think we do the do we do the hunt next, which is putting the rift key in the level.
Yeah, I think what we want to do for next step is like create a scene with a puzzle in it.
Yes.
Like that is the next step.
Yep.
Create a scene with a puzzle in it.
Yeah, so we want our time swap mechanic, so then we can do our time swap puzzle. So that's step 1. We just number them. Yeah, so time swap mechanic, then this is the one that you're talking about, right, Tony? A puzzle for the time swap mechanic.
Yeah, well, I think, like, yes, but and then, like, the third one is where I think, like, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. I think we want to categorize this as, let's go make a scene and test it. And then we can create multiples of that scene, right?
Well, wouldn't we want to take a step back and like see if we do have a fun time swap mechanic with a couple of fun puzzles before we create a scene with the time swap mechanic in it?
How would we know if they're fun if there's no scene to play with them?
I think maybe we're talking about like the same thing here, where a scene would be like that puzzle, and we'd string them kind of together.
Okay.
Well, these are like two different puzzles.
Yeah, maybe that's confusing. Delete everything aside from 1 and 2.
That's what I was saying.
Like Brandon, you're really trying to plan out the entire thing. It's a simple thing. Let's create a puzzle, and then and then we'll move on from there. We don't need the next 20 steps. Let's just get a puzzle working.
Yeah,
and then we can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.